The Mystery of the Pirate's Treasure, Chapter 5. Snubbed. When Chris returned to the apartment, it was much later than he expected. There was a note on the table from Mom. "Chris, you must let me know where you are. For all I know, you might have been kidnapped. Love, Mother." Well, at least, Chris sighed, she does expect me to return to read the note. Then, too, his mother did have a tendency to exaggerate. Thought someone might have kidnapped him. For a fleeting moment, the image of the strange man with the slap footstep was vivid in his mind. Chris had been glad, though, that his mother was not in the apartment when he first arrived. A cooling-off time always helped anger. Besides, he needed to wash off the rusty smudges and hide his fortune letter. A pang of realization shot through him. He might now have something that someone would really want to kidnap him for. Turning over in his mind where a good hiding spot place may be, he ate the ham sandwich Mom left on the table. Finally, he selected his hiding place and headed toward it. Once in the bedroom where he and Mike slept, he removed the letter from his pocket and slipped it between his mattress and springs. Maybe he would show it to Mike tonight, just in case anybody got any ideas about kidnapping. Then, if anything happened to him, at least someone else would know his secret. But as it turned out, Chris didn't show the letter to Mike. He'd gotten so mad with Miss Uppity that he had done nothing the rest of the evening but watch TV and sulk. Early in the evening, he had looked for Nicole, although he didn't want her to know that he had. He had thought she could tell him who the stranger was and at least relieve his mind on that score. At any rate, when he went to Nicole's apartment, he found her sitting cross-legged on the shag rug. She was fashioning something from leather that looked like a belt. Mike was in one of the scooped-out chairs reading. Mike looked up when Chris entered. "Boy," he said, "was Mom mad at you?" Chris shrugged his shoulders and dropped to the floor by Nicole to watch her punch holes in the soft leather. "Where were you, anyway?" asked Mike. "Nowhere in particular," replied Chris. He tried to make his voice sound natural. Mike's book held more interest than argument with his brother just then, and he said no more. "Say," Chris said to Nicole, "who's that man who lives down the hall from us?" "I don't know," she answered, still intent on her leather tooling. "He must have moved in not long before you came." "And you don't know him?" "No." "Do your parents know him?" "Heavens, I don't know. Why should they?" Nicole still had not bothered to look up from her handicraft, but continued to punch holes and examine them. "Well, if this was Greenville, people would know somebody who lived in the same building with them." "But this isn't Greenville." Nicole's voice was precise. "People in big cities don't bother their neighbors." "What you really mean is they're not friendly." Nicole turned on Chris then and gave him a look to remember. "What?" she asked, her gaze steady. "I said people from the north aren't friendly, like people from the south are." Chris felt his anger rising. He intended to get this girl told, even if she was so darned sophisticated. "Chris!" Mike looked up from his book. "Mom!" "Cut it, Mike," Chris interrupted. "She knows it's true." "I don't know anything of the sort." Nicole spoke with more life than Chris had heard from her. "We're not Snoopy, if that's what you mean." "No, don't go changing the subject," Chris said. He jerked at a loose thread on the hem of his jeans. "Well," Nicole glared at Chris, "I may not have that Southern hospitality I'm always hearing about, but I'm not rude the way some people are." "Rude?" Chris retorted. "I'm not rude. I'm just telling it like it is." "Mike," Nicole said, tossing her head back, "don't you think it's getting stuffy in here?" "I sure do," said Mike, understanding her perfectly. "Not rude," shouted Chris, jumping to his feet. "I wonder what she calls that." He twisted the toughened little thread until it broke with a jerk. "That snob! Who does she think she is?" In a rage, he whirled out of the room. Fuming, he stalked back to their apartment. But as his mom often expressed it, he'd only jumped from the frying pan right into the fire. For Mrs. Martin was waiting with her tongue lashing over his long absence. So the evening had been a total loss. Everybody was down on him. He had no desire to share his secret with Mike as he had planned, but Chris thought, as he flung himself into bed, he did still have his secret, and that was something.